Folks, so while we speak about South African elections and how people are supposed to vote, I've said in the past video. I've made a video that stated that the Democratic Alliance doesn't have a plan, which I released last week, I think. Many of you white South Africans were unhappy about that, which is fine. Uh, you are free to have opinions that you want to have. All of us are free to believe what we want to believe. And then I've made a video which today, a couple of hours yesterday or today, depending on where you are watching from in the world, where I stated that you should vote for the Democratic Alliance in local government, but you shouldn't vote for them in national government. So I just thought that maybe let me make a video to explain how I've voted in the past, um, since there's a South African election next year. Uh, just so because some of you might need to know how I vote, which I'm fine with actually explaining to you how I vote. I know some people will always say that the vote is their secret. Their vote is a secret. I don't really hold that view. I'm not ashamed of saying what I believe. But let's put it to you this way. There has been in 2024 there was a national government election, which as a South African, I could access it wherever I am in the world, but I chose not to vote. Yeah, I chose not to vote because I thought that there was not anyone for me to vote for. I'm gonna come back to that later. And in before that, there was a national government election in if I'm not mistaken, in 2021. Hmm? Yes, in 2020. No. In 2019, there was a national government election, and I didn't vote. I didn't vote because I felt also at the time that there was no one for me to vote for. And before that, there was a national government in South Africa in 2016, which I also didn't vote in. Yeah. So when it comes to local government, there was a local government election in um, I suppose I was in South Africa in in 2021, and I was in South Africa as well in 2016 because I can't vote. You can't vote abroad for local government elections, if I'm not mistaken, because you have to vote for the city that you are in, but you can vote for national government elections even if you're abroad. So I was in South Africa in 2021 and I was in South Africa in 2016 when those local government elections were happening. I didn't vote there either because also at the time I felt that there was no one to vote for. But now with hindsight, I'm starting to think that I should have voted. I should have voted for the Democratic Alliance in the local government election of 2016. I was in Cape Town at the time, so it wouldn't matter really because they were going to win Cape Town anyways. And in 2021, when the local government election happened, I was in Potchefstroom in Northwest, and I didn't vote. And I suppose I could have voted. Um, it wasn't going to make a difference because I think they also govern Potchefstroom. But when it comes to the national government elections of 2024 that I didn't vote for, and in 2019 that I didn't vote for, um, I think the only elections that I actually voted in were 2014 and 2009. I don't regret not voting for in 2019 and 2024 because I didn't believe in any of the parties that were running. Especially, I mean, last year, I mean, I looked at all of the parties, I looked at their manifestos, I looked at their policies, and I didn't agree with anything that any one of them was presenting. And personally, I'm not of the view that vote for the least offensive party. I know people do that and people believe that. If that's how you think of it, it's fine. Good for you. Like, that's not like how I think. Because I'm not going to vote for something that I don't believe in. So, I mean, you can take the top 7 parties of South Africa. The African National Congress. There's virtually nothing I agree with them on. Okay, maybe very little at all that I agree with them on. The Democratic Alliance is number 2. There is also very little I agree with them on. And then the MK, which contested last year's election, there is almost nothing I agree with those guys on. And I think they are very dangerous. And then at number 4 is the EFF, which I also think they're dangerous. And then at number 5 is the IFP, which I've seen how they've governed in KZN in the municipalities that they govern in. They are very corrupt. They also don't have a plan. So there was nothing that I was going to vote for when it comes to them. Like they offer nothing. Like as most of these parties offer nothing at all. And then there is the Freedom Front Plus at number 5, which also offers nothing at all. And then there is, well, I mean, I could say that the Freedom Front Plus offers something to white Afrikaners who have this fear that someone is persecuting them. I suppose um, that's their constituency to tell you that you are being persecuted because of your race. If that's what you want to hear, even though it's not true, be my guest, go for it. So that's their constituency. I don't see them growing beyond the Afrikaans community because they are selling you fear that you are being targeted or you are being farm killings are racially motivated, even though there's no evidence of that. Whatever, that's be my guest. Do whatever is going to make you happy. But with regards to the larger issues that are facing South Africa, they have no answer to any of that. They don't even have a clue. Yeah, and then the UDM, I think, is number 7. They also so you can imagine, and then you look at the smaller parties, like less than 0.5% of the vote or 1% of the vote, whether it's Rise Mzansi, Musimaimane's party, I don't know why it's called Bosa. You can go down the list. None of these people have a plan. None of them. None of them. So when on election day, I just sleep if I'm not working, or I just sleep the entire day. I sleep with a clear conscience in my heart because there's no one in charge. There's literally no one. Like you have crazies in charge of this of the asylum. It's really crazy. And some people will ask me, then what are South Africans supposed to do if you say that there is no one in the political process who's worth voting for? My suggestion to you, as I suggest to most people, is to get out while you still can. That's the only suggestion that I'll have for you. Get out. Get out. The things that need to be done are very clear and very specific, but they are not going to happen. They're not going to happen. Because even if these things are suggested to these people who are in parliament, these folks have their heads so up their asses, it's not going to happen. Just imagine, for instance, how difficult it has been for President Donald John Trump, who is doing his best to save America from oblivion. How much rejection and pushback he's been receiving from the very same people that he's trying to save. He is doing everything in his power to restore manufacturing to the United States. and everyone and their grandma are telling him it can't be done. Imagine. How much more in South Africa do you think? If you were to come and suggest policies that are going to return industry to South Africa, how far do you think you're going to go? Everyone and their grandma will tell you it can't be done. They're going to tell you, oh no, it's cheaper to make stuff in China. As soon as someone tells me that it's cheaper to make stuff in China, I already know they have no idea what they're talking about. They have no idea how things work. Literally no idea. Yes, we are getting things at a cheaper price from China, but the question is why? 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 That is the question that Trump has been answering and subsequently returning manufacturing jobs to the United States. And because of how bad things are, and because of how basement level kind of thinking we're having in South Africa, you are not going to get the right ideas to get to a place where they get passed into law in parliament and get signed into law by a president. A lot of you in South Africa, you say that you want South Africa to succeed, but the only thing you're interested in is narrow racial interest. Yep. South Africans don't vote on policies. South Africans vote along racial lines. That is both the white people and the black people. And it's case in point is how you have mindless adherence to the Democratic Alliance, and similarly to how black people have a mindless adherence to the African National Congress. It is clear example for me that you are not primarily motivated by policies, you're motivated by racial considerations. Yep. Yeah. So the two things that South Africans vote on, it's race and personalities. Those are the two things. This is why when someone who is marginally charismatic goes into the public square, says some things that make no sense, you'll find South Africans saying you should be president. Yeah, that's just how it is. Yeah, so my suggestion is that get the hell out. Get the hell out. Nothing is going to happen. Just get the hell out. That's my only suggestion to you. Yeah, with that said, let me know uh, uh, what you think. And yeah, see you in the next one.